And just to be safe.
Record.
Start you.
The ultimate guide to choosing a web browser. I'm Huey Poplock. So what is a web browser? Web browser is a software application used to access and explore the internet. It helps you view websites, search for information, and interact online. Think of it like a digital window to the World Wide Web. Each browser has unique features and characteristics. Meet the browsers. We'll explore 8 popular web browsers: Brave, Opera, Arc, DuckDuckGo, Chrome, Safari, Firefox, Edge, and Dia. We'll compare their key features, strengths, and unique qualities. We'll talk about some new browsers: OpenAI browser, Perplexity Comet, DeltaSurf, Ladybird, and Zen. So get ready to become a browser expert. Brave browser, the privacy champion. It focuses heavily on user privacy and security, built-in ad and tracker blocking, rewards users with cryptocurrency for viewing ads, supports multiple platforms, Windows, Mac, Linux, and mobile, and it's the fastest browser in many speed tests. I used Brave browser on a regular basis for a while, and it was a very good and fast browser. Opera, the feature-packed browser, includes built-in VPN or virtual private network, free messaging apps integrated directly in browser. There's a sidebar for quick access to social media and messaging. It's Chromium-based, meaning fast and compatible with many websites. It has a unique sidebar for productivity. It was originated in Norway but is now owned by the Chinese. Arc, the design-focused browser, currently only available for Mac. Highly innovative user interface. It focuses on productivity and clean design, unique tab management system, and spatial organization of browsing tabs. DuckDuckGo, privacy mobile browser. Designed primarily for mobile devices, its extreme focus on user privacy. It blocks online trackers automatically. It's simple, clean interface, and there's no personal data collected. Chrome, the Google giant. It's developed by Google. Massive library of extensions. It syncs perfectly with Google services. It's very fast performance, available on almost all platforms and most popular browser worldwide. It happens to be my default browser. Safari, Apple's native browser. Default browser for Apple devices. Excellent battery efficiency. Its seamless integration with Apple ecosystem. There's strong privacy features, and it's only available on Apple devices. Firefox, the open source option. Developed by Mozilla Foundation. It's open source software. Strong privacy protections. Customizable interface. Available on multiple platforms and supports extensive add-ons. Microsoft Edge, the Windows default. It's the default browser for Windows computers. It's based on Chromium, like Google Chrome. Good compatibility with websites. There's built-in Microsoft Service integration, and there's a reading mode and collections feature. Dia, the lightweight browser. Extremely lightweight browser, minimal resource usage, simple, clean interface, designed for speed and efficiency, less feature-rich compared to others. It's Mac OS only, version 14 or newer, and requires the M1 chip or later. And it's currently in invite-only beta and not available for Windows or Linux. Perplexity Comet, smart browsing with contextual memory. Conversational search with memory across tabs. Real-time Q&A interface with trusted resources. Designed for fast, natural interactions with the web. It's available exclusively to Perplexity Max subscribers at $200 per month. Surf by Data, the AI-powered research companion. Notebook-style browser organizing your content. Integrated AI answers from pages, docs, and video. Context-based content, sorting, and interaction. It's an open alpha, and it's available for Mac, Windows, and Linux. Ladybird, open source from the ground up. Built on the LibWeb engine, not Chromium or Gecko. Privacy-focused and completely independent. It's ideal for developers and open source enthusiasts. Flow by Eco, fast embedded browser for low-power devices. It's multi-threaded engine optimized for speed. It's designed for smart TVs, kiosks, and devices. It's lightweight and performance-driven architecture. Every element is drawn directly via GPU or graphics processing unit. It's embedded and desktop ready. The desktop SDK support exists for Windows, Mac OS, Linux, and Android. Zen Browser, productivity meets privacy. Firefox based with Arc-style vertical tabs. Split view, privacy tools, and no Google dependencies. Fully customizable and open source. It's cross-platform, available for Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. Browser speed comparison.
Okay, I paused it there because I wanted to cover something that he already has now covered. The Arc browser, I've used it. It originated on Mac OS, but there is a Windows version also. I am not certain if they're ever going to create a Linux one, but they've set it aside, meaning no further development at the moment, because they are also the creator of Dia, the new lightweight one. It'll be on the Mac OS first. It might be a year or more from now before there might be a Windows version. So I'm just adding that in. Chrome browser, more and more of my systems, I'm removing it because they don't want me to use their browser, simply because I can't have my tools that I've had for up to 20 years now. They're discounting most of them because they're not under current development, or they're not following certain guidelines. And there was an article recently that a lot of security leaks of personal information has occurred with a number of different extensions to the Chrome browser. But so far, it's only Chrome that I'm having the big problem with. Occasionally I have a little bit of problem with other Chromium-based ones, but for the most part, they work fine with the same extensions. So I've given up for the most part on Chrome. Chrome is going to have to get their act together to get me back. Now I'll continue on, I hope.
Brave and Chrome typically are the fastest. Opera and Edge are close behind. Firefox and Safari, moderate speed. Dia is designed for minimal resource use. Speed can vary based on device and internet connection. Private rankings. Brave and DuckDuckGo are the top privacy protection. Firefox has strong privacy features. Safari, good built-in protections. Opera, moderate privacy. And Chrome has the lowest privacy ranking. Cross-platform availability. Chrome, Firefox, Opera are available for most platforms. Safari, Apple devices only. Arc, Mac and iOS. Edge, Windows focused. And Dia, multiple platforms. Which browser should you choose? Privacy focused. Choose Brave or DuckDuckGo. Apple user? Safari works the best. Want lots of features? Try Opera. Google ecosystem? Chrome is ideal. Minimal and fast? Consider Dia. Browser selection factors. Consider your primary device. Think about your privacy needs. Check extension, add-on compatibility. Consider performance and speed. And evaluate unique features. Browser security tips. Always keep your browser updated. Use strong, unique passwords. Enable two-factor authentication. Be cautious of unknown extensions. And regularly clear your browsing data. The future of web browsers? There's an increasing focus on privacy. More built-in security features. Better resource management. Enhanced cross-device synchronization. And AI-powered browsing experiences. Your browser, your choice. No single is best. Each has strengths and weaknesses. Experiment and find out what works for you. Your needs will determine the right browser. Stay informed about browser updates. And you can have multiple browsers on your system and use different ones for different purposes or just for testing. Okay, here are all of the browsers, and we're going to compare them with each other in various topics. First, the focus. And you can see Brave has privacy and ad blocking, where Opera is feature-rich, built-in tools. I'm just going to skip down a few here. Chrome has speed and Google integration. So it's a mixture and a lot of what I already discussed about these. So they have different focuses. And then do they have ad blocking? Well, the ones that don't are Arc, Chrome, Safari, Firefox, Dia, OpenAI browser, and Perplexity Comet, and Delta Surf and Ladybird browser. But some of them have extensions that can block ads. How about privacy level? And again, each of them are rated from very strong to moderate to minimal, and many of them are medium, and Ladybird is to be determined. In other words, they haven't figured it out yet. It's too new. Speed, very fast, is Brave, Edge, and the OpenAI AI browser, and several are fast. There are none that are really slow. Extension support. DuckDuckGo does not have extension support. Safari is limited. Dia is no. And Ladybird, they're planning on it. Extension support I just did, but the OS support, there are the ones that say yes mean most of them. OpenAI AI browser is Windows and Mac, but it's going to be determined. It's not completely done yet. And same for Perplexity and Delta, and Ladybird's in development. And let's see, Zen browser does have cross-platform, and Safari's pretty much Apple only, and DuckDuckGo is mobile only. Notable features. Again, these were mostly things that I covered when I went through the various slides. But if you want to take a picture with your phone, this would give you the notable features of all of them. And the ones that jump out, the ones I like are Firefox's reader mode, Edge's AI search, Copilot, collections, VPN, and vertical tabs. It also has a reader mode that's very good. And let's see if there's any others here. The Ladybird browser is a libweb engine, privacy-focused design, and you can read the other ones. Security strength, Brave is very strong, DuckDuckGo is very strong, Firefox is very strong. Target audience, and there's the various audiences for the different browsers. Brave, privacy, crypto users. Opera, tool-heavy users, visual customizers. Arc, creative professionals, multitaskers. DuckDuckGo, privacy-minded mobile users. Chrome, general users and Google users. Safari, Apple users. Firefox, privacy-conscious open source fans. Dia, users needing a fast, low-resource browser. Edge, Windows ecosystem and AI users. OpenAI browser, AI-focused users, productivity seekers. Perplexity Comet, knowledge workers and AI early adopters. Delta Surf, researchers, info organizers. Ladybird browser, open source supporters and developers. And Zen browser, privacy users and power users. This has been the ultimate guide to choosing a web browser. I'm Huey Poplock.
Okay. Now, another thing that wasn't in Huey's presentation, I did this for two reasons. There is a big push right now for AI-centric browsing, and basically, instead of using, say, Google search, DuckDuckGo, Bing, etc., as search engines, you're basically going to be talking to an AI chat box for what you're searching for, and it'll find all the relevant information it can and provide it to you. It's getting that direction, but now they're actually building the browser around the AI. The other thing that some of you may not know about, there is now an offer by Firefox for a VPN. I only took a brief look at what their offering was, but it sounds like it's very pricey. I think it was $9 and some cents a month, which for the VPNs, that's on the high side.
That would be the highest I've ever heard of.
Yeah, I know. It's I've seen a few where they didn't have a discount going on with somebody somewhere that were high priced also, but that Firefox one is pretty pricey.
And then there's a browser that he mentioned that Firefox wasn't that fast. There's a variant, or what do you call a fork of Firefox? It's called WaterFox. And WaterFox is faster than Firefox.
Well, I also have LibreWolf, and there's Fire Dragon. Those are all based on Firefox, and how their speed performance is, that's debatable. But theoretically, like LibreWolf, the way it tends to work, it's like using incognito mode, so that when you close the browser, all the trace elements disappear too. So there are a bunch of options. There used to be a program, I don't know if it still exists or not, or if it's kind of a dead project. It was called Pale Moon. That's Firefox, but it's got some changes to it. And Pale Moon, I used that years back now, but I got away from it because it seemed to be having some various problems. I don't know whether it was caused by Firefox development team or if it was caused by their own customization. But when it comes to browsers forks, Firefox has the least number, and Chromium based has the largest base of browser options. So I thought this was a good little segue into browsers and how things are changing. And you're going to see more and more changes as the days literally go by now, because everybody out there under the sun, including people who never had a browser, are developing AI-based browsers. So that's something we all get to look forward to and enjoy. At any rate, another thing that, hang on one second here. I have my handout. It's not as lengthy as normal. Let's see here. Trying to. All right. I'm getting something else set up here. Control-C. And take that down there. I want to share, and I want to bring up. Okay, we got that piece. Now to bring up Firefox. Enlarge that. And delete those. Paste in those. Open URLs. Okay. Now, surprisingly, one person who I thought would be here tonight is not, and I wonder if he got tripped up by CCS versus Burt Good. He submitted to me today this general article here. Take it for what it's worth. There is a blog that goes with it. The link to the blog is both in the this brief article here, and at the same time too there are other people's comments, but basically it's saying System D has been a complete and utter unmitigated success. That's their opinion, versus the old way of Linux using INIT files for configuring anything and everything, and you had to go find all your INIT files. You had to go through the text, and you had to make your necessary setting changes. But I have the two links. They're in the handout, so you don't have to go fishing for them. Any comment? The first comment down here is it might not be a Red Hat conspiracy, but it's a product of our time. And then it goes on 3 paragraphs here. So you might want to read the at least viewer comments about it. The next thing I got up here is optimizing Linux performance. And this is, I find a little bit interesting because sometimes he comes up with some ideas that may help out some people. It depends on the hardware and what version of Linux you're using too.
Welcome to the ultimate guide on optimizing Linux systems for maximum performance. We'll explore everything from CPU tuning to network optimization. A full guide is available in the video description below. Performance tuning is vital for maximizing Linux system efficiency. It enhances responsiveness, throughput, and resource utilization. By understanding your workload, you can make informed tuning decisions. This isn't just about speed, it's about smart trade-offs tailored to your needs. Whether it's boosting processing power or optimizing for energy efficiency, knowing which knobs to turn is key. Linux architecture is a layered system. Hardware, kernel, libraries, services, and applications. Each layer can be a bottleneck, so a holistic tuning approach is essential. The kernel is highly configurable, allowing for specific workload optimizations. Understanding this architecture is crucial for identifying and addressing performance bottlenecks effectively. Common performance bottlenecks in Linux systems include Central Processing Unit, CPU, memory, input-output, I/O, network, and application inefficiencies. Identifying these is crucial for optimization. Tools like TOP, VMstat, and IOstat help pinpoint issues. Often, multiple bottlenecks coexist, requiring simultaneous attention. Stay tuned for a systematic tuning methodology to tackle these challenges effectively. To optimize Linux systems, follow a systematic tuning methodology. Start by establishing baselines to understand current performance. Identify bottlenecks using monitoring tools, then implement changes incrementally to isolate effects. Document each change and its impact. This iterative process ensures ongoing optimization without confusion. Next, we'll explore essential tools like TOP and VMstat for effective monitoring. Let's dive into essential tools for monitoring Linux performance. Tools like TOP, VMstat, IOstat, and perf are crucial. They help identify bottlenecks and validate tuning efforts. Understanding their output is key to effective performance analysis. These tools provide the visibility needed to ensure your system runs smoothly. Now, let's explore key performance metrics to monitor for optimal system performance. Let's dive into key performance metrics: CPU utilization, memory usage, disk I/O, and network bandwidth. Monitoring these helps pinpoint bottlenecks. Establishing performance baselines is crucial for comparison. These metrics guide us in optimizing Linux systems effectively. Now let's explore CPU performance optimization, focusing on architecture, schedulers, and frequency scaling using tools like CPU Frequentils and IRQ balance. Let's dive into CPU performance optimization. Understanding your CPU architecture is crucial. Use tools like CPU Frequentils to manage frequency scaling and IRQ balance for interrupt handling. Different workloads need tailored CPU tuning strategies. For instance, high throughput tasks benefit from the performance governor, while low latency tasks require core pinning. Remember, effective CPU management can significantly boost your system's performance. Memory management optimization is crucial for Linux performance. Configure swap, huge pages, and non-uniform memory access settings for efficiency. Use tools like Free and VMstat to monitor memory usage. Application-specific tuning is key. Remember, optimizing memory ensures your system runs smoothly without unnecessary slowdowns. Stay tuned for storage and input-output performance tips next. To boost storage and input-output performance, tweak input-output schedulers, queue settings, and file system options. Implement RAID and SSD-specific optimizations for better results. Regularly monitor with IOstat to keep an eye on performance. Remember, a full guide is available in the video description for more detailed steps and tools. To boost network performance, start by tuning NEC settings using ethtool. Adjust TCP, IP stack parameters, and socket backlogs for better throughput. Tools like IPRF3 are essential for testing and monitoring. Don't forget DNS optimization. It can significantly enhance network speed. Stay tuned for kernel parameter tuning next, where we'll dive into memory and network adjustments. Kernel parameter tuning is crucial for enhancing system performance. Adjust memory, file system, and network parameters to suit specific workloads. Use systtl for temporary changes and tune for profile management. This approach ensures your Linux system is optimized for the tasks at hand, providing a tailored performance boost. Service and process optimization is crucial for Linux performance. Manage system services, adjust process priorities, and utilize C groups for resource control. Prevent resource hogging with precise resource allocation. Regular monitoring is key to spotting optimization opportunities. Dive into tools like systemctl for service management and cgroups for fine-grained resource control. Keep your system lean and efficient. Let's dive into advanced optimization techniques. Performance profiling with tools like perf and bpf provides deep insights into system behavior. Compiler optimizations can enhance application performance, while specialized hardware acceleration, such as GPUs, can significantly boost processing power. Tailor these optimizations to your specific workloads for maximum efficiency. Performance testing is crucial to validate optimizations. Use tools like sysbench and FEO for benchmarking. Continuous testing helps catch regressions early. Remember, testing ensures your tweaks are effective, not just placebo. It's like checking if your car's turbo actually boosts speed or just makes noise. For a full guide, check the video description. Welcome to Welcome to the ultimate guide on optimizing Linux systems.
All right. Now, what he's talking about here is always go underneath here in the brief description, click on more, and this gives you more details of what he's talking about. And then following that is any comments by other people. This is right now something that has been out since May 23rd, and there aren't too many comments, as you can see. But generally speaking, I found it kind of a unique video on Linux, and worth looking into some. Don't go to extremes. You'll be spending the rest of your life trying to follow all this and get an absolutely perfectly tuned system. Peter?
Yeah. Yeah, so going back to browsers, I put a question up in the chat. I'd like to know if there are any other browsers that can access the Google infrastructure. That means not only email, but Drive, contacts, calendar, and the rest of the stuff that goes along with Google without having to go through.
Well,
general question.
Offhand, I've used other browsers. I open up a tab, I type in google.com, and I got the infrastructure, and I can access anything there.
Yeah, if you can log into your Google account from Firefox or other browsers.
Yeah, there's no problem with that. And when it comes to, say, like Copilot, whether you like Microsoft or not, bottom line, you want to run Firefox or some other browser and run Copilot, open up a tab, go to copilot.microsoft.com, and you got Copilot. What's the big deal?
Okay, I might try that, but
I guarantee
it
works. I've been doing it for, God, I don't know how long.
I understand what you're saying there. I do understand, but the thing is, I leave Chrome and Edge on because I use it for two different things. I use Chrome because my Gmail is on there, and my contacts and everything else, and I use it for non-financial stuff, and I use the Edge just for my financial stuff so that they are separated.
I have gone to my Gmail accounts from any browser I damn well feel like.
Mm-hmm.
It don't
matter. You're not restricted to using Chrome to get to your contacts.
Okay, I'll have to play with it.
Anyway, next
just to see how I like it.
Next, I have here. Oops, I got that duplicated. Sorry about that. Now this is, gosh darn it, get out of my face. This is an article. Ditch ChatGPT for this all-in-one tool, or you won't regret it. This has been around for a while now, And there are, I think, one competition to it, but there are at least two different ones out there. What they do is they give you access anywhere between 3 and 6 different chats all in one screen. You type in one search value, whether it's a problem or you're looking for information. It feeds it that to each one of them consecutively. So it can be kind of slow in response because you're going to the chatbot one and waiting until it's all done with its response. Then it feeds the same question to the second one and keeps there until it's all done and goes on to the third one. And if you got more than three, but what it gives you is the ability to take the same exact search value and apply it to 3 or more chatbots simultaneously. But that way you can compare the results so that if you're not doing deep thinking on your searches, then you may get more hallucination, especially if you left it in a creative mode. Creative mode is hallucination with a little bit of real fact. So it's something to keep in mind. Poe is one. I think another one is SNEL, if I remember right. I haven't had time to look into either one of these, but it's something to keep in mind.
I know that Huey told me about one that starts with an S. I'm not sure if it's Snell,
I think it's
but
Snell.
the limitation with that one is it picks 3. And if you want one other than what it picks for you in those 3, you have to pay them.
Okay, that's a possibility too. A lot of the AI stuff, if you think it's all absolutely free, you're dreaming. One way or another, they've got to collect money because the cost of AI servers to answer all the chatbot stuff is extremely expensive. And a lot of people who do subscribe, they're paying $20 a month or more. Very few are being able to get a rate lower than $20 a month. So there are limitations on the free. Sometimes you can only do so many of the searches with a particular chatbot so many times a month, and that's it. When you hit your maximum, you got to wait until next month to use that same chatbot for a new set of free chats. So keep that in mind as well. And ooh, they took one out.
I'm looking at Poe now. It looks confusing.
Well, one of my videos may not work for you, or I've got a problem on my end that I'm not aware of. So we'll just have to go on. Running Linux, running Windows in Linux. Now, I briefly had this at the South Suburban Windows group, and basically, this is talking about using a virtual machine to run a copy of Windows, like 10, or it could be 11 too. And why would I consider this? There are a lot of people who seem to be stuck on Windows because of one or two programs they absolutely rely upon. And as a result of that, they won't even consider moving to, say, Linux or some other platform unless it supports the same program. They don't understand that more and more applications are going cross-platform, so that if you got it working on Windows, you can go to a Linux or a Mac and probably have the same application running. It doesn't always 100% the same. Take, for example, Microsoft Office. Microsoft Office runs on Mac, but it's not absolutely identical between the two. But the majority of the features and capabilities are the same. But I also want to bring this up. I'm not going to play this one. I'll let you guys play it. There are a lot of people I'm seeing in chats on Linux in different distros that I use or play with. And a lot of them seem to think the easy method of installing Linux works beautifully and cannot comprehend why anybody would want to have separate partitions. And that's a limitation of their current knowledge of Linux and how it should be set up. Anybody that wants to play with this, I suggest you set up a new version of the Linux on a drive. Make sure it's got a good fair amount of space. Keep your root partition no more than 50 gigabytes. Your home partition, I would say, keep no more than maybe 40 or 50 gigabytes, and make a third partition. We're not including UEFI or swap partition in this. They're there also. But the third partition, you want to break out the var folder from the root, because that's where all the virtual machines are stored. If you don't break out the var partition into a separate partition, you're going to run out of space real fast because it's going to take up a lot of space inside the root partition. You may not be able to get updates, let alone upgrades. And I'm not even sure if some of the stuff might stop running. So you have to understand, normally in the egg mode, one big partition like Windows and Mac OS is great for having everything there that you want. You can back it up all at one nice chunk from their concept. But what they don't understand is if you accidentally hose the operating system with partitioning, you can rebuild the UEFI and the root partition, leave the other ones untouched, and you're back in business, besides being able to restore a backup. So if you want to get into Linux's virtual machines, you gotta make another partition with a var folder. You can do this on an existing Linux system that you've got partitioned, but it's a little bit more involved. I do have a handout if anybody's interested on how to use a partitioning tool like gparted, shrink your existing partitions to make a new block of space, put in a new partition, and have that automatically mount thereafter. Personally, I think it's easier if I take and build a whole new image, and then I can copy stuff if I want to from one new setup to another. So I'll leave that up to each of you. If you want to have this gone into more depth in the future, let me know. Switching to Linux drives and partitions. This is kind of like a little tutorial. I think of it as helping people who don't know Linux and the infrastructure about this infrastructure. So this one I'm going to play at least some.
Welcome to another video from explainingcomputers.com. This time I'm going to talk about working with storage in Linux. This is something that people switching from Windows have to adjust to, and is something I'm frequently asked about. So let's go and take a closer look. Right. As this video is for people switching from Windows to Linux, I thought we'd start in the Microsoft offering. And because many people switching to Linux are likely to be running Windows 10, that's the version we're running here. Anyway, here in Windows, if we click on this PC, by default we open up a file manager with a list of standard user folders, as well as direct access to C:, here labelled as a local disk. And if we plug in an external SSD, it's accessible as D:, and if we then plug in a USB thumb drive, it's accessible as E:. Meanwhile, if we go across to Linux, and here we're running Ubuntu 24.04, things are somewhat different. Specifically, by default here, on the desktop we have a folder called Home, and if we open it up, we get a file manager that displays the contents of the Home folder for the current user. But, to many people's dismay, there are no drive letters. This said, if we plug in our external SSD, and then our USB thumb drive, they both appear in the file manager just fine, and we can access them like that. And as you may have noticed, here in Ubuntu, they also appear on the dock. And it's worth noting that these drives were both set up and formatted in Windows, and we can access them just fine here in Linux. It's also worth noting that to safely eject the drives, we can either go across to the dock and right-click and select Eject from the menu, or we can use the eject icon in the file manager. Given that not all Linux distros are the same, let's now also go across to Linux Mint. And here by default things are very similar. We again have a home folder on the desktop that opens up a file manager that shows the contents of the current user folder. Although here we can actually see the username, which is EC. And if we plug in the same drives, they again appear in the same way in the file manager. No problems at all, and here they also get an icon on the desktop. And to be honest, if you simply want to access drives and work with them in Linux, then this is all you really need to know. If I, for example, open up LibreOffice Writer and create a document, I could save it by going to File and to Save, and either picking one of the standard user folders, probably Documents, I could save it in Downloads if I wanted to, or I could save it to one of our external drives over there. Let's save our file to our integral SSD. However, if we just close this down, you may notice that also by default on the desktop here in Linux Mint is an icon called Computer. And if we open this up, we get a list of all the physical storage hardware connected to the computer along with the file system. And for those who really want to understand how drives and partitions work in Linux, this may be where things start to get confusing. So let's now delve into the fundamentals.
That's as far as I'm going to go on this one here. But you get the idea of he's trying to relate Windows users and what they're used to in finding folders and drives, etc., and how it relates if you switched over to Linux operating system It also applies to Mac and other BSDs, because Apple's Macintosh OS originated from a BSD. It's a Unix style of operating system for the microcomputer. And next up, learn a virtual machine in Linux is another one here that is strictly Linux and its virtual machine. Again, you got to break out the var partition, or you're going to clobber your root partition where it's currently located. Next up is a critical Linux alert.
Hey Linux enthusiasts! Welcome back to Tan Does Linux and More. I'm Tan, and if you've been following the Linux world this week, you know it's been absolutely wild. We've got critical security vulnerabilities that you need to patch right now, some incredible kernel updates, major distribution releases, and honestly, some of the biggest changes to Linux gaming we've seen all year. Let's dive into what has been one of the most eventful weeks in Linux land. And hey, if this video helps you stay secure and up to date, smash that like button and subscribe for more Linux content every week. Alright folks, we need to start with the elephant in the room, and this is serious. 2 critical vulnerabilities have been discovered in sudo, and I mean critical with a capital C. If you're running any major Linux distribution, you need to pay attention to this. We're talking about CVE 2025-32462 and CVE 2025-32463. Now the first one might not sound too scary with a CVSS score of 2.8. But here's the kicker. This vulnerability has been hiding in plain sight for over 12 years. That's right. Since September 2013, there's been a flaw in sudo's host option.
Yep. I'm just listening.
So the weather forecast was really off today, huh?
Yeah.
And it showed major downpours between 8 and 9:30.
You're coming through here.
That could allow users to execute commands they shouldn't be able to. But the real nightmare is CVE 2025-32463 with a CVSS score of 9.3. This one is absolutely devastating. It affects sudo's chroot option. And here's what makes it so dangerous. Any unprivileged user on a system with a vulnerable sudo version can potentially escalate to root privileges. You don't even need any special sudo rules configured. The default configuration is vulnerable. The vulnerability works by tricking sudo into loading an arbitrary shared library. An attacker can create a malicious etc nsswitch.conf file in a user-controlled directory and potentially execute commands with root privileges. This is the kind of vulnerability that keeps system administrators awake at night. The good news? It's been patched in sudo version 1.9.17p1. The bad news? This affects virtually every major Linux distribution. Ubuntu, Red Hat, SUSE, Debian, Alma Linux, Alpine, Alma Linux, Gentoo, Oracle Linux, you name it. If you're running Linux, you're probably affected. So here's what you need to do right now. Pause this video if you need to and update your systems. On Ubuntu or Debian, run sudo apt update and sudo apt upgrade. On Red Hat-based systems, use sudo dnf update or sudo yum update. On Arch, run sudo pacman syu. Don't wait on this one, folks. The sudo project maintainer, Todd Miller, has even announced that the chroot option will be completely removed in a future release because supporting user-specified root directories is just too error-prone. Now let's talk about what's happening in kernel land, because we've got some significant developments this week. Linux 6.16-RC5 was just released by Linus Torvalds, and while it might seem like just another release candidate, there are some important fixes in here. The big story is a performance regression fix in the Futex code. The kernel team had to disable a new feature called Futex private hash for the 6.16 cycle because it was causing some serious scheduler performance issues. Don't worry though, they're planning to properly fix this for Linux 6.17, so we'll get the performance benefits without the regression. We're also seeing new hardware support landing, including Intel Wildcat Lake HID support and various x86 platform driver additions. Plus, there's support for the Acer Nitro gaming controller NGR200. Great news for Linux gamers who want to use this specific controller. Now, here's where things get interesting and a bit concerning. We're seeing bcachefs fixes merged into 6.16-RC5, but there's been ongoing drama around this file system. Linus Torvalds has hinted that bcachefs might get dropped from the kernel entirely. There have been development disputes, and frankly, the future of this next-generation file system is looking uncertain. Linux 6.16 stable should be out by the end of July or early August, depending on whether they need an extra release candidate. And speaking of stable releases, we're also seeing the usual LTS updates: 6.15.5, 6.12.36 LTS, 6.6.96 LTS, and 6.1.143 LTS all got updates this week. Oh, and here's something that might affect some of you retro computing enthusiasts. As of Linux 6.15, the kernel no longer supports 80486 processors or early 586 chips. So if you've been running modern Linux on that vintage hardware, 6.14 might be your last stop. Speaking of 6.15, Arch Linux just released their July 2025 ISO, version 2025.07.01, and it's the first Arch ISO to ship with Linux kernel 6.15. If you're doing fresh Arch installations, you're getting all the latest kernel goodness right out of the box. Let's talk distributions, because we've had some interesting releases this week. The standout is definitely Rhino Linux 2025.3, and this one's got some significant changes that I think you'll find interesting. Rhino Linux has switched to using the RPK2 package management tool by default. For those not familiar, RPK2 is their custom package manager that's designed to work with their rolling release model. They've also added a KDE Plasma 6 UBXI desktop option, which is pretty exciting if you're a KDE fan. But here's the really cool part. Rhino Linux is now officially sponsored by the UBports Foundation. For those who don't know, UBports is the organization behind Ubuntu Touch, the mobile Linux distribution. This sponsorship should provide Rhino with more stability and resources for development. We also got Mellowy Linux 2025.07.04, which now ships with the XanMod kernel by default. XanMod is a performance-focused kernel that includes various patches for better desktop responsiveness and gaming performance. If you're looking for a distribution that prioritizes performance out of the box, this might be worth checking out. Gentoo users got some love too, with updated install media based on KDE Plasma 6.3. The 2025-06-29 images are available now, so if you're brave enough to tackle a Gentoo installation, you'll have the latest desktop environment to work with. And speaking of hardware, Tuxedo released their OS 2025-0702 update. Tuxedo OS is specifically designed for Tuxedo hardware, and they've been doing some really interesting work in the Linux laptop space. We also saw releases from EasyOS 6.101, Berry Linux 1.42, CentOS Stream 10 2025-0630, and 4mil Linux 48.1. The Linux distribution ecosystem continues to be incredibly diverse and active. Now, here's something Ubuntu users need to be aware of. Ubuntu 24.10 is nearing its end of life. If you're still running 24.10, you should start planning your upgrade to a newer version. The Ubuntu team typically provides about 9 months of support for non-LTS releases, so this isn't unexpected, but it's something to keep on your radar. Debian users got some good news with the Debian 13 installer RC2 becoming available. One of the cool new features is support for rescuing BTRFS systems that were installed via the Calamares installer. This is a nice quality of life improvement for users who prefer BTRFS as their file system. Let's dive into desktop environments, and KDE users are getting some nice treats this week. KDE Plasma 6.4.2 just dropped, and while it's a point release, there are some solid improvements in here. The big improvement is to the Kicker app menu widget. If you're using the traditional application launcher, you'll notice better performance and some bug fixes that make the experience smoother. They've also improved Spectacle, KDE's screenshot tool, with better functionality and stability. We also got KDE Gear 25.04.3, which is the final update in the 25.04 series. This includes updates to all the KDE applications like Dolphin, Kate, Console, and many others. It's always nice to see the KDE team maintaining their software with regular updates. Now, let's talk about a major update that's going to affect a lot of Linux users, Thunderbird 140 ESR. This is a significant release because it's focused on enterprise needs, but it has features that benefit everyone. The standout new features are Mark as Spam and Mark as Starred Actions directly in notifications. This might seem like a small thing, but when you're dealing with a lot of email, being able to triage messages without opening the main application is a huge productivity boost. But here's the absolute game changer for Linux gaming. Steam has enabled Proton by default for games without native Linux builds. But let me repeat that because it's huge. Proton is now the default for non-native games on Steam for Linux. This means that when you install a Windows game on Steam for Linux, it will automatically use Proton to run it. No more manually enabling Proton for each game. No more digging through compatibility settings. This is going to make Linux gaming so much more accessible for newcomers. The implications of this change are massive. We're talking about thousands of Windows games that will now just work on Linux out of the box. This could be the tipping point that finally makes Linux a viable gaming platform for mainstream users. Photography enthusiasts got some love with Digicam 8.7, which includes a new auto-rotation tool based on content analysis. This is pretty sophisticated. Instead of just reading EXIF data, it actually analyzes the image content to determine the correct orientation. Developers using Geany got version 2.1, which brings a smoother UI, new file type support, and improved theming. Geany is one of those lightweight IDEs that's perfect for quick edits and smaller projects, so these improvements are welcome. Gaming got another boost with DXVK 2.7, which improves support for God of War, Watch Dogs 2, and Final Fantasy XIV. DXVK is the DirectX to Vulkan translation layer that makes many Windows games playable on Linux, so performance improvements here directly benefit Linux gamers. System administrators and power users will appreciate Bash 5.3, which includes new command substitution features. Bash is the default shell on most Linux distributions, so improvements here affect virtually everyone in the Linux ecosystem. We also got 7-zip v25 with performance improvements. File compression and decompression might not be the most exciting topic, but when you're dealing with large archives regularly, these performance gains add up. Let's talk hardware, because there's some exciting news for Linux laptop enthusiasts. Tuxedo just announced that their Stellaris 16 Gen 7 laptop now shits with AMD Ryzen 9 CPUs. Tuxedo has been doing incredible work in the Linux laptop space, and their machines come with Linux pre-installed and fully supported. The Ryzen 9 CPUs in these laptops are absolute powerhouses. We're talking about processors that can handle serious workloads, video editing, 3D rendering, software development, you name it. And the fact that it's all running Linux natively with full hardware support is just beautiful. NVIDIA users got the 575.64.03 driver release this week. While NVIDIA's relationship with the Linux community has been complicated over the years, they have been more consistent with their driver releases lately. This update includes the usual bug fixes and performance improvements. Open source graphics got some love too, with Mesa 25.1.5. Mesa is the open source graphics stack that powers AMD and Intel graphics on Linux, and it's been getting some impressive performance improvements lately. The gap between open source and proprietary drivers continues to shrink. One of the things I love about the current state of Linux hardware support is how much has improved over the years. We're seeing day one support for new hardware, manufacturers like Tuxedo and System76 building Linux-first machines, and even traditional laptop manufacturers starting to offer Linux options. The framework laptop ecosystem continues to grow, and their modular approach combined with excellent Linux support is really changing the game. Being able to upgrade and repair your laptop while running Linux natively is something we could only dream about a few years ago. Let's talk about some community developments that are going to make life easier for Linux users and self-hosters. Let's Encrypt now supports IP address certificates. This is huge for anyone running services on their home network or managing internal infrastructure. Previously, if you wanted HTTPS for a service running on a local IP address, you had to jump through hoops with DNS or use self-signed certificates. Now you can get a proper Let's Encrypt certificate for your IP address, which makes securing internal services so much easier. Cosmic Desktop Environment has landed in Void Linux. Cosmic is System76's new desktop environment written in Rust, and it's been generating a lot of excitement in the Linux community. Having it available in Void Linux means more people can test it and provide feedback. Fedora made an interesting decision this week. They're holding off on dropping i686 support, citing community needs. This is a great example of how Linux distributions listen to their users. While 32-bit x86 is definitely legacy at this point, there are still use cases where it's needed. The Copyleft Next license relaunched with new backing and a renewed mission. For those interested in open source licensing, this is an attempt to create a more modern copyleft license that addresses some of the complexities of current licenses like the GPL. OpenSUSE Tumbleweed users got an interesting update with the introduction of Merlin. This is part of OpenSUSE's ongoing efforts to improve their rolling release distribution, and it shows how active development continues across the entire Linux ecosystem. Alpine Linux developers are working on something called Wayback as an experimental X compatibility layer. This could be interesting for users who want to run legacy X11 applications on Wayland systems. It's still experimental, but it shows the kind of innovation happening in the Linux space. What a week it's been in Linux land. We've covered critical security vulnerabilities that you need to patch immediately, exciting kernel developments, major distribution releases, desktop environment improvements, and some game-changing updates for Linux gaming. But seriously, if you take one thing away from this video, make sure you update your sudo package. Those vulnerabilities are no joke, and the fixes are available now. If this weekly roundup helped you stay on top of the Linux world, please hit that like button and subscribe to Ton Does Linux and more. I put out Linux content every week, covering everything from news like...
Okay, now I'm gonna stop this share for, well, I'll leave it up. I want to show you, here we go, and okay. In the handout that you'll be getting at, I've added 3 new links down here for weekly news in most cases, and a discussion group also that usually gets together, sounds like once a week. And they're worth a little time to cover what that group is covering that given week. And I've been going to them more and more. And this guy is the third one down here. And I've only got a little bit left here, other than the presentation of the demo. This custom GPT finds more up-to-date information than deep research. Here's how it works. So this is another segue into ChatGPT that does deep research and gives you the ability to get more concise, less hallucination type answers. And I found with Copilot, going deep thinking, it's called, beats the quick response type chat. I might start off with the quick response, and then I switch it to deep think. So you got to watch that one. From Verge, I got this is an article. I'll let you read that title, not me.
Yeah.
What it is if I play the video here, you'll get an idea of what it does. If it'll let me. Oh, wait a minute, it's down here. That's a magnified view of it. I thought I had a video in here that showed you about it, because that's how I found out more about this. Basically, this can do a lot of mouse functions with a wheel. And you have a little finger spot that's round here, and you rotate this either direction, and it gives you sometimes a better control than, say, a mouse or a touchpad. I'll let you examine that one on your own. And this was something I came up with just the last couple days. This is from FlatHub. It's available in the Mint's software manager. It's called Speech Note, and it's a dictation type program for those who are lousy at keyboarding. Keyboarding is the term that's been around for a long time now that replaced typing. Typing and keyboarding means you keep your hands, both of them, on the center row of keys on the keyboard, and you use shortcut keys for the most part, and you try and use your mouse as little as possible. That brings a segue into some new versions of Well, they're not that new. Let's put it this way. I didn't know about them until fairly recently. There are three ones. I have mentioned two of them before in the prior meeting. One is called i3, and it's for X11 only that I know of. Sway, and the other one is Hyperland. Both of those work on Wayland. These are real different. They're not like any Linux desktop or Windows or Mac desktop that you've ever seen. Basically, you are keeping your hands on the keyboard and very seldom ever touching a mouse or touchpad. You are using shortcut key combinations to change how many windows you have open, and they're not really windows, not in the traditional sense of the word. They're panels. So if you look at Windows and you go up to the little square in a window, it gives you different paneling options that you can open that window in on the desktop. And you can have quite a few different windows or panels open on Windows via that trick. Well, Sway is a low-end version of that that's built on top of i3 from X11, but it's for the Wayland. And Hyperland is a real high-end one. And I'm telling you, I've only had a little bit of time to play with a couple of these. The Highland one I've got is based on Garuda Linux, which is Arch base. The Sway one I got is based upon Ubuntu, but it's not an official flavor of Ubuntu. So it's a custom build. And most of us, I don't think, would mess with them other than curiosity to see what they look like. But you might want to do a little bit of research to see if you can see a video or some kind of a PowerPoint type of presentation of what these things look like. And there are some people that are very focused on, say, program development that are very high in using these, but I don't see it as being something that most of us would mess with. At least that's my opinion. So now I'm going to take down my browser. Now, this is getting into what I'm calling a live demo. This is something I am wanting feedback on. But before I do that, I want to share the handout, mostly just to get rid of it and not wait till the absolute end. And we got that. Now, oh, come on. I keep doing that. I do them backwards. Okay. There's the one handout. Now, I have also how to break out the var folder. This is built from a chat. I'm going to give you that one too now. Ooh. No, come on. No, that's not what I want. Interesting. All of a sudden I can't. There we go. All right. Now that's the second one out there. system analysis. This is something that only a few of you might be somewhat interested in. Oh, good old Peter's problem that Dennis answered for him. There's how to share a folder between various desktops, either the users or in a server-like environment. Let's see here. Here's one for VMs for Windows on Linux. So I got, let's see. Oh, I got one other one in here. I'm going to give you this one too, and it's a has to do with the demo that I'm going to do next. Okay, got that. So you got a chat box full of downloads. Now, let's see if I can get back to the desktop. That'll be novel if I can. All right. You get out of my way. All right. Now, I've mentioned before I have some icons here, and they do differing features. This one here is a piece of software. It is available in the Mint software manager. I do not recommend that you use it because it's an old version. I got from the Ubuntu a newer version, version 1 and higher. That's the one you want. If I double click on this here, it gives me an idea of the cores that I have, the base minimum speed called idle speed, and the maximum speed of the processor. This will not overclock a processor. However, what I do use it for is to change from 800 megahertz on the idle speed to about 1.1 gigahertz. It gives me a quicker, faster response time on older equipment. And that's the only thing I changed there. Then I changed my governor policy, energy policy to performance. And this gives me the ability to get more out of the desktop machines. But I also use some of this also to some degree in laptops. Understand, when you raise the idle speed or you change the governor policy to from balance to performance, or energy from balanced to performance, it's going to eat up a laptop's battery faster. But I have a bunch of laptops that the battery's dead. I have not replaced it, so I'm hooked up to the power block all the time. This is not for everybody. I use it most of the time on laptops. Most of my desktop type machines, I don't even bother with it. But another problem is I have to launch this thing manually, or do I? That's where things get kind of interesting. If I go down to the start button, bring up settings, you have down here startup applications. And guess what? That one's in there. And you have toggle switches so you can turn it on and off. It's not as clean cut as it ought to be. Under Ubuntu Cinnamon, where I got it to work first, it's much, much simpler to set up the auto startup. And what it's going to do is, if I logged out of this right now and logged back in, it's going to pop up a screen that looks like a terminal. All it's asking for is your password. type in your password, it actuates a profile that I created in here. Now the profile, this is currently showing my custom profile. I can change this to balance, and this is what it looks like. It will change the frequency down here on either one of these lines. I can, right now, the maximum speed, I can't go over that, but I can lower the maximum speed if for some reason I want to on a per core basis. Or I can click up here, and what that does is whatever I change here on the slider can apply, instead of the 1 like it was starting to show there, I click it again, and all of these should start changing, but at the moment it's not doing it. That's first. Oh, I didn't apply, that's why. Dummy. There's the request for now. Let's get back here. Now see, this was grayed out. I didn't realize that. So I click on it, and now when I start moving this slider, it's applying it to all cores. So I can do it one individually, or I can do it all cores at one time for the change. It says the governor policy is now in power save mode. I can change that to performance. The energy is in performance. I go to preferences, and it says energy is in performance, but if I don't want that, I can change that by turning it off, and it has a profile. I can go balanced, performance, whatever I want. And then in profile, once I've got these two set, I can name my own profile, presumably like Tim, since that's my name, and that's my login name. And then I hit this button here, and it saves that profile, but I've already got one, so I'm not going to do that. So that gives you an idea of how to set up an automatic startup. But you need, in Mint and LMDE, a helper. And it's a small shell script. And for that, we're going to come over here, and I go to Home. You have to go to View if you haven't done so previously, and make sure you have checked Show Hide Folders, because a lot of things don't show up in the normal view. And you come down, scrolling down, and here's a bunch, anything after this folder here, you normally would not see if you don't have it unhidden. And I have 2 scripts only, if anybody's interested. And one of them sets up the automatic start. And the other one is for another application that I'm going to demonstrate. It's gives you some additional features. Now I'm going to put that down, and I'm going to get out of this one here. Now, the next one I have here, it's Chromium. Well, I have Chromium down here on the taskbar. No big deal. But there are 3 Chromiums in Linux. If you are running Ubuntu, it normally defaults to a snap package. That's sandboxed. If you're in almost any other distro that supports flat packs, that's usually what you get installed, and that's sandboxed. But if you have the original install, which is true on this system here, it is not sandboxed. That's okay. there's a tool in the software manager called FireJail. You download FireJail, and what you do is you create a desktop shortcut that runs FireJail and launches the Chromium browser. It looks identical to what you have normally running, but it's got some protections in case there's some bad content trying to get into your system through the browser. Most other browsers are automatically sandboxed regardless of whether they're in a Flatpak or a Snappak. I did the same thing for Firefox, just out of curiosity, which normally Firefox can be sandboxed, but whether it was or not, the same FireJail works there. This bottom icon is a third package you can install. You don't have to. It allows using that same sandbox feature for other applications that you want to run, but you're not sure how secure they are, that they might do something bad to your system. The sandbox may prevent it. Next down here, this is these are the simpler of the desktop icons. This is one that does text enlargement or scaling. Mine's set for 1.5, which is 150%. And the other one down here resets it to 1 or 100%. So if I click this one here, well, I got to double click. Desktop icons you have to double click unless you make a setting change. But you don't see too much normally by doing it. What you have to do is open up like a terminal text file. I use Abby Word also, things like that. And if I double click the small one, see how it changed? So it doesn't work in everything, but in some things, this thing can magnify things. And I don't know if it has a limit as to how high the magnification goes. I settled for 1.5. Now, as part of the demonstration also, I have here back into desktop. Note, by the way, I should have done this in the beginning. I didn't. I'm going to create a new launcher. I don't know if that's going to be enough. It's not enough. All right. Let's change it to something else. At any rate, see this little icon here? Looks like a rocket ship. That's the default. Defaults drive me nuts. On the desktop, if I take and right-click, right-click, select properties, I get an icon. It would look like a rocket ship here. Left-click it, I get all kinds of categories of icons out there. And this allows me to get more meaningful graphical icons on the desktop than just seeing this rocket ship for each one of these icons that's on the desktop. So that's how you change them. Now, if I take a one of these icons here and I were to drag it to the desktop, it won't work right away. what you have to do is double click it for the first time. Now that executed because it's live in my system. So normally you would see the rocket ship. You have to double click it and you have to say, I trust this, to make it executable. Whatever it may be referencing as the program to launch, you have to go in to your home folder. And what you have to do is find the particular, let's say here, trying to find the one. All right, I'm having a hard time finding what I'm looking for. At any rate, you would find what it's trying to execute in your home folder. You would right click on it, select properties, and go to permissions tab, and you would click here to put a check mark in to make that executable. Without the check mark, the only other way of making that an executable is a command line terminal called change mod, and you give it a -X and the program folder path and the actual object that needs permission to execute, if it's a script type of idea. Now, I'm going to stick in a flash drive. This is a Whopping flash drive. This is 64 megabytes, and I use it just for Linux. If I can find my port. There we go. Alrighty. Well, I don't need both of you open, but okay. This is showing me the stick. Now I have for the CPU power, this is a version 1.0.0.2. Don't use anything less than 1, and I'm not joking. But you may have to go to a Ubuntu store to get the proper version. The Mint one, the last I checked this weekend, is still showing 0.72 or something like that. And that's too old a version. Under my desktop icons, I created a new one based upon an alias that I have. Now, this is what I mean. This is where I store it on the flash drive. I dragged it down to the desktop, and it looks like garbage. Okay. If I double click it, I get this message, untrusted application launcher. I have to trust it. Now it changed. Now it may show you this icon. It may show you the rocket ship. You can change it to whatever you want because there's no good one for this. What does this thing do? Right now, it won't probably do anything because there's a shell script that's required for this. So I double clicked it and it did nothing, which I expected. Now, if I come down here, and I'm not saying the name of my shell script is good. I think something came into mind and I called it this. It's called Cleanup Shell. Now, if I take that, I'll do a copy of that off of the flash drive, and I will put it in my home directory by pasting it. And now I got to go find it. There's cleanup. Now I want to right click that. I go down to properties. I go to permissions. I put a check mark in here and close it. It's done. Now if I come to here, well, I'm going to move this up over a little bit. There's a terminal. And a lot of new users don't like terminal. They think it's from hell, I guess is the best way to put it. So they don't like it. So this is why I made this from the alias. I'll put in my password. And it goes through updating and upgrading, and it does a lot of cleanup work. It's a nice little script, and there's two options. You can let it sit there and you manually close it. I changed mine so it automatically closed when the whole thing was done. Now, since I was up to date, it ran faster. I still use the graphical updater that comes with Mint and any other Linux just about. But they tend to be somewhat slow, and at least once or twice a month, you may get lots and lots of updates. That can take quite a while for that to go through the whole thing. I use an alias, and I'll briefly show that. Some of you might be interested in that. This comes from a meeting back in January, February. And I'm going to extend that down a little bit. I have a few of these aliases here on just about every Linux distro out there, but it varies. And I have one that has a big long list if you're a developer, which I'm not. But almost everything else before that block and down below here, I created. UU is a updater, and it updates the cache of what files are out there and their current versions, so you know what you're out of date with and what you're up to date with. But it also does the upgrade, it does Flatpak, and it in a newer version I've got of this, it does even more things to do some cleanup after the fact, and it reinitiates the update so that it has the cache available for the new installation of programs and applications. Another one is ST. ST is, let's see what it does. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. Sometimes some of these require a sudo. Not all of them, but some do. Oh, it's got a problem. I'll have to look into it. But what it does, originally it was just for a speed test, just like going to speedtest.net. But I added 3 more features to it that check out your gateway, that it's working right, that you can get out to the internet. It does a check with Google or Microsoft. And I also check out the DNS to make sure that it's working correctly. Another one is that was part of this is alert. Alert goes into the end of your journal, which is your log file for what's going on. So if I have a problem suddenly crop up, I can type in alert and it'll give me the last entries that are errors or warnings. So it gives me a lot of flexibility in all of these here. This one hasn't updated in a long time. And how I update it, I go to my USB stick and I have a file in here somewhere. Oh, I forgot. I broke it out. For Mint, I have this particular one here. And I copy my alias, this folder. I go into the home folder, come down, find a place, and paste that in. And I say replace. Now, it's not active. It only remembers the ones that you see on the screen right now. You have to execute a command to reload, and it should be exec bash, and it should reload. Now, I haven't isolated this down yet, but in the bash RC, it's complaining about a couple lines in the bottom of the configuration file that it doesn't like an if then else construct that, as far as I can tell, I never modified. So I guess it came that way by re-executing this bash command to load in the new revised alias list. If you see UU down here at the bottom, on the previous screen, it only had 3 entries. In fact, I think I can go up to it. Yeah, here's UU. It only has 3 commands. They run consecutively. The new one does 2 lines here. You've got the update, the upgrade, the flat pack, which you can change to snap pack in Ubuntu, or if you're a person that uses both snap pack and flat pack, you just add the snap pack information in. I have here for sudo app auto remove -- purge. I have clean, and then I rerun update so that it has the cache with the current image of what you have installed. So these are some of the things that I've worked on for, really since January off and on, as much as I can find time for. And I'm trying to simplify some things. This is good for people who don't like the command line because they have to remember all the commands and all the parameters. Baloney. Make an alias. Let the alias remember what all the command line, command and parameters are, and it'll do it just fine. The alias, as far as what it's called, that's up to you. Most are 2 or 3 character long things that don't interfere with regular stuff in the Linux operating system or applications. But a few of them. This one, first one up, second one up here after alert is BIOS menu. That was something that Earl gave us back in February or March meeting. And it gives you a way of rebooting your system straight into your BIOS setup so you can make changes if you need to do so, instead of having to remember what key to keep tapping when it restarts to get into your BIOS or the boot menu. So these are, and I just took some of the ideas and I made shortcuts for the desktop. But there's additional things here. You would, to be able to use all of these, I would have to give you copies of the 2 shell scripts that I have. one for the automatic launching at login, and the other one is for the CPU powered GUI. And that one, and there's a shell script for this desktop icon to do much of the same thing that the aliases do, because that's what it was created from. Anybody got any questions other than Peter, who's had his hand up forever? And we can log off now, and that way he doesn't have to ask a question.
Simple yes, no question. Does the software manager do the updates required for the security alert?
Not security alerts, but what it does is software manager does manage the updating of a lot of applications that you install as native, Flatpak, and I think, I don't remember if I don't think it handles the app image, and it does not handle Snappak, I don't think. So it only handles native and Flatpak. But some of those can be updated from the software manager. It's usually the third tab. It says if you got any updates.
So if my software manager says the system's up to date, does that mean I'm good for that critical security alert?
If you,
And not always.
yeah,
I would go to the terminal in these cases and not only run sudo apt update, but also sudo apt upgrade,
well, that's
because there are upgradable packages which the software manager will hold back.
yes, but
Right.
also
But
too,
it also depends on your distro. If they've put the patches into their repo,
Yeah, because if it's not in your repo yet, you may have to go fishing for it elsewhere, which I wouldn't recommend.
yeah, it's not a good thing. Basically what he's saying, either this desktop icon that I've created here, or the UU alias that I have, that's what you would use to find any and all the updating. Both work as terminal, and the terminal updating is way faster than the graphical updating.
Yeah, the point is you need to do not only update, but also upgrade, and you may have to manually select to upgrade a particular package because it would normally be held back.
Well,
And that will be listed in the terminal when you do that sudo apt upgrade command. It may show a whole list of things you could upgrade, but it's not going to do it automatically.
right. Usually it's a comment towards the end of normal upgrading that says these packages were not updated. Enter -- space list space and I can't remember the command after that. It's a
-- upgradable.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
-- upgradable, and it'll list out the ones that it did not update, and then you can try and manually update each one of them individually with a sudo apt install command.
Yeah. Sudo apt upgrade as a single command will also show that list of upgradable packages that haven't been upgraded, and it will also below that show which ones will be upgraded. And you just hit a yes no for the ones that will be upgraded. For the others, you have to do sudo apt install, and you can install in groups.
So that gives you something there to think about. But generally speaking, since I use the terminal to do my upgrading through the alias usually, or this other application, it's doing much the same thing. I get most everything, but I don't usually bother with the not installed versions yet. I think some of those are waiting to be proofed or waiting for something else to be ready to be installed, and they don't install the current version because it might cause a problem.
Yeah, it's called staged release.
Yeah, it's a staged release. Microsoft does it. So does Mac OS. They have staged releases also in that, and it's just a case where they're starting to put out information about new changes, but they are not taking effect until a future update, and then they'll automatically go in when the distro releases them from staging to install.
Another thing that will sometimes happen in the terminal, when you go to install something, it may say suggested additional software. And these are things you might want to install to go along with the new packages. Those are optional.
Yeah, but sometimes too, those kind of optional ones are dependencies for applications that you're installing.
Occasionally.
Anybody else got anything? Drew?
Yeah. Well, I did a login. I created a login to Poe. And when I did, it opened up a window with 4 chat windows. And you put the question into a search bar at the bottom.
Right.
And then it fills in all 4 boxes.
That's right.
Only when I tried to use it, it popped up a message asking me for my credit card.
Yeah, don't doubt that. You gotta read the fine print on a lot of these. Like I said, AI really isn't free. They got to make money somewhere, and it's not going to be too much longer. Probably within the next year or so. A lot of AIs that developers out there are going to disappear. It's going to be like the old internet bubble that we had back around the turn of the century. And if you got stock in them, good luck. So right now you gotta be real careful. Even the, if I got it correct, SNEL, it gets at certain points in time wanting you to upgrade to a subscription.
Yeah.
And
Right.
there's no way around it. It depends on your usage. If you're a very heavy user, whether you're in business or not, of AIs, it might be worth the subscription to at least one,
Yeah.
not multiple.
Poe wants $18 a month.
Yeah, well, I said usually it's around 20, and you don't find too many below 20.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you for the info. I need to go.
Yeah, well, we're about done with the meeting anyhow. Unless
I have
somebody's got
to
something.
get someplace before 10:45.
Jail?
No. I have coupons that are expiring tonight, and the store closes at 11.
Talk about waiting to the last minute. Holy mackerel. All right.
Anyway, have a good night, folks.
Aloha,
Drew.
everybody.
Anybody else got any last minute things they want to bring up before we call it quits? Hearing none, I guess we'll stop the meeting. Hang on a minute.
Okay.
And all right. And I got to get to my other machine. All right. Well, I hope somebody found some value in tonight's meeting. It's one of these things that, as far as all this goes, that I used to be a programmer analyst, and I used to do a lot of heavy stuff that most application programmers wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole, but I didn't have a choice in some instances. So I do I'm not into really programming, though sometimes I get a little bit of an itch to try and do some programming, but I haven't done any of it so far. I'm getting a little bit into the aliases. I'm getting a little bit into the scripting, using the AIs more and more. I think everybody's got to really consider trying to learn how to use them and effectively. You're also talking in terms of learning how to best phrase your questions or problems and give it enough information that it gives you good feedback, starting with the first response. And then you, based upon that response, you read it. You might have to add additional information you didn't put in originally, and you keep going and going and going, and you start giving feedback as you execute some of the things it suggests, and what the results of that, what you tried to do with, and feed that back to the AI so that it knows what happened, and that if that wasn't the issue, probably eventually you may either get an answer from them explicitly correcting your problem, or like me, possibly Bob too, and Drew, we might be able to figure out at a certain point what the answer is, and then I feed back the solution for that and say this was the solution. It got rid of the problem. So if there's nothing else, I guess we'll call it quits. I gotta edit this video, but I may wait until tomorrow to do it. Anything further? If not, I'll bid everybody adieu. Come on. What's going on? Meow, meow, meow. What you doing, little bit?